You had just been traded to Carolina when the 2011 lockout hit, meaning no access to the team, the facility, coaches until training camp. A very similar situation to this offseason. What did you learn about yourself during that experience that's helped you navigate this one?
For the most part, if you want to get your work in and you're really passionate about this and you're really invested in yourself and your training and your preparation, you'll find a way. Maybe not everybody is doing it the way I'm doing it. How can I find a schedule and a routine that accomplishes everything and more from what I've done the last 13 seasons, that I can be in the best shape, that I can be the healthiest, I can be, as prepared physically and mentally to get ready to start a season than I've ever been. But the biggest part is whether you want to do it or not, because no one's holding your hand. No one's forcing you to do anything. I think this is going to really weed out the guys who are truly in for the right reasons. It's your way of gaining a leg up on your competitors. And that's really what this game comes down to. Hopefully that's everybody on all the other teams. Hopefully that's nobody on the Seahawks.
After 13 years in the league, do you feel like there's still something to prove? And if so, how do you handle that?
Yeah, I've always kind of had my whole career as living under that umbrella that, all right, what if you fall off? Like, what if you can't do this anymore? Like, you can't let that happen, right? And just kind of like continue to chase that carrot. And while that could be somewhat exhausting, it's also what allows guys to play for a really long time. Is it doesn't take a whole lot of external factors to motivate guys that want to do this for a long time if they can do it internally. And that's always been kind of my approach. And then you factor in the new circumstances, and that's just kind of the icing on top, right? The new teammates, the new coaches, the new facility, the new everybody. When you step at practice, their eyeballs are going to be on you. They're going to be like, all right, this new guy that's coming in here, we know what he's done in the past, but can he still do it? Like, I know that's the narrative. Like, I'm very aware that that's the word. And like, I'm really excited to get in and show them, okay, this guy can still go like we've seen him do in the past.
How key has that internal motivation been to your success?
I love it. It's just kind of always been the way that I've been wired. I've never been the most talked about guy. I've never been the most popular guy. I've never been the guy that everyone, when they do their rankings, wants to put it, that's just kind of been the nature of my career. And then I think when people take a step back and they look at the body of work, I think they're kind of surprised. And I think it's just a product of the way I've gone about my career. I'm not a big, flashy guy. You're not going to see me doing all the stuff these other guys do. But when you take a step back and you look at the body of work and you compare it against my peers, I think it speaks for itself.
How did your health factor into this offseason, and where would you say you're at when it comes to any physical limitations?
This is the first offseason since 2016, 17, where I've had no limitations on what I've been able to do. I mean, even last year, coming off the surgery after I had the second surgery when I broke my foot the second time after the 2018 season, all through the 2019 training camp, offseason into the training camp, there was still some limitations to what I could do with my foot. Certain cuts, I couldn't load it every single day because it would get sore. There was modifications to my training and my practice routine leading up to the season, where when the season started, I just wasn't the same that I had been because I wasn't able to build all that volume leading up because I was trying to guard and recover. I wasn't even a year out from my second surgery. Now, there is none of that. I've been able to go full throttle from the day I started training back at the end of February all the way through now, where there's no more training around my foot. And I haven't been able to do that really since the season going into 2017 when I broke it the first time. And that's been really the biggest advantage that I've had, is because I've been able, in order to play like I did in 2015, 16, 17, I need to train like that. And in the past, I just wasn't able to.
What are your impressions of Russell Wilson, and have those changed at all going from opponent to teammate?
Yeah, I've had the luxury, I guess if you call it, of seeing him from the other sideline what seems like a million times. I mean, for a non-divisional opponent, it just seemed for a stretch of seasons there, we were playing at least in the regular season, if not regular and postseason. So obviously I got to see him, up close and personal, and a lot of those games didn't go our way, and a lot of that was because of him. You can't say enough. I mean, it's what everyone else says when they meet him. He's just a really impressive person. I mean, forget his play and what he can do. He's an incredible communicator. His understanding of people and understanding of teaching and answering questions and bringing guys along and challenging guys, but also encouraging them. Like, he just has a really unique style. And this has all just been virtually. So obviously I'm excited to get out there and get more of that face-to-face interaction. But, you know, I can't say enough good things. He obviously was a big reason why I chose Seattle. I had a handful of other teams that I could have gone to, but, you know, he's very unique and he's a special person. And obviously on the field, we all know what that is.
What are your expectations for this Seahawks team this season?
It's hard because I don't know the ins and outs of the team at all. I know them as an outsider. I know them now as an insider for a couple months virtually through a computer screen. You know, one of the factors of choosing them was when you look at the last decade, they're always there. They're always in the mix. They're, you know, and that's all you can ask for. And that's not by accident. In this league, that is so, what they've done over the last decade is so hard. You know, teams like them in New England, I mean, just to be in the mix, in the playoff hunt, to win your division, like to be in the mix like that every year is extremely difficult. And that's a credit to the organization, to Coach Carroll, and all the way down from the GM to the executives to the players. And I wanted to be a part of that. You know, I'm just excited to join a team that knows what winning is. They know what it takes to win. They can win in a lot of different ways. And I just want to, you know, I want to be a part of that.
The 12s haven't gotten to know you the way they would have liked to this offseason, given the current climate. What would you like them to know about you?
You know, I think the biggest thing that I hope they learn is, you know, I'm a big just kind of let play, you know, just go out there and play. I'm a big believer that in all the other nonsense in the hoop, like just I'm here to play ball and I'm here to be good and I'm here to be a good teammate and I'm here to work hard and do everything the team asks me to do. And when I'm on the field, I'm asked to produce and I'm asked to produce at a high level. And, you know, I hope they look at me as a guy that they feel when I'm on the field, we're better. When I'm in, I'm all in. And that's no different now. What I've given for the last 13 years to my other teams is exactly what I'm going to give them now. And I'm not just some washed up bum who's looking to collect a paycheck. You know, I wouldn't do this. I wouldn't be doing all this work if I didn't think that I could still play and produce at a high level. And I'm anxious to show them that because I'm sure they have some reservations, you know, why they spent all this money on this old guy. And I get that, but I'm anxious to get out there and kind of make some plays and be like, I told you so.
You've played against the Seahawks countless times in your career. Was there ever a moment where you thought, I want to be a part of this?
You know, it's funny. I mean, when I think back through like the timeline of my career, like a lot of my, like the moments that I remember that I've been a part of happened to be against Seattle. You know, my first ever playoff game, the 2010 season, I was in Chicago at the time. Seattle had just beaten, you know, Marshawn broke that beast mode, big kind of put him on the map to beat New Orleans. And then Seattle came to us the next week in Chicago, scored my first ever playoff touchdown.
Greg Olsen.
When I think to some of the games we played against each other, you know, we lost in a relatively close battle up there in 2014 in the playoffs. And then 15, we come back. And then came back and played Seattle again in the playoffs that year before we went to the Super Bowl. And we got this big lead. And then Russell came storming back. And we're like, holy crap, are we going to lose to this guy? We were up 30. And fortunately, we ended up sneaking it out. So, like, there's so many memories that I have against Seattle. And, you know, I've always had just nothing but respect for Pete Carroll and his resume and his accomplishments. You know, obviously Russ and the guys they've had on defense throughout the years. And I mean, you could go on and on. I mean, they've made a lasting impact in this league over the last decade or so. And that's guys around the league take notice of that.
With that history, would it almost seem fitting to have a really good playoff run that would hopefully end with a ring?
That's the plan. That's why I came here. So I'm going to do everything I can to be a good teammate and be a positive impact on this program and, contribute as much as possible. They have the foundation there. I mean, they won without me for a long time, so it's not like I'm the missing link. But I feel like if there's a couple more percentages that I can give to the team, maybe that can help. And that's been my approach the whole time. They know how to win. I know how to win, and I just thought it was a perfect place to bring myself to and join and learn the way they do things.